Now, the Tottenham and England footballer Danny Rose's comments on racism in the game dominating the back pages today. He's only 28 and so still has years ahead of him, but he says he can't wait to see the back of football because he's fed up with what he calls farcical punishments handed out by the authorities. He's added he expects to be abused when he plays for England in Montenegro, which is a shocking thing to say, isn't it? Unfortunately, that's just one of a number of ugly racist incidents to blight the beautiful game in recent weeks. Townsend is head of development at the anti-racism charity Kick It Out and joins us now. Good to see you. What on earth is going on? I thought we'd left the bulk of this behind us decades ago.
No, we hadn't, first and foremost, because I think the reporting of the kind of incidents that were still prevalent in the game kind of went quiet. So we were almost sweeping a lot of the incidents under the carpet. What's happened this season is that there's been a number of high-profile incidents that have brought it right back to the fore. And you know, what happened in Montenegro was only a slight on the many incidents that are still happening around the world, to be totally honest. And it's something that has obviously now flagged it up back into the media and back into the public domain.
I mean, it is a shocking state of affairs with Danny Rose saying that, you know, he can't wait to leave football, which suggests to me that it's getting worse. He's got, say, 6 years left in the game, and he's actually wishing his time away because of the way that racism's being handled.
Well, Danny was racially abused playing for the England under-21s back in 2012 and was sent off for being racially abused and had to go through a process of almost trying to prove that, you know, what had happened to him. Since then, he's had a number of, you know, he's had mental health. He's spoken about mental awareness quite a lot due to an injury. He's had, you know, some issues with his family that have really touched him. And then, like you say, prepares for Montenegro, almost knowing that the same situation is going to happen again. My question is, how are we looking after the well-being of our professional footballers now as well? You know, he's spoken about a number of high-profile incidents and situations that have happened to him personally, and it's something that should really put a red flag up to the game. So
what do we need to do? I mean, clearly it's unacceptable, and the vast majority of people would acknowledge that without any qualms. Oh, come on, the vast majority of people in this country would say it's a disgrace.
The vast majority of people are not the rule makers, are not the decision makers, and while we continue to hand out paltry fines for racist abuse, while we continue to not put it at the top of our agenda, whilst we wait for UEFA to deal with Montenegro, which is not until May the 16th, people have no confidence at the moment. Players have no confidence in the fact that these punishments are going to serve as a deterrent to the fans or the FAs that, you know, continue to be put under this kind of spotlight. So whilst you're right about, you know, the good people in the world, you know, there's still an element of people who, you know, that are still doing this stuff, you know, not just in the highest level of the game, but, you know, we've had a number of grassroots incidents as well that are now getting flagged up and highlighted that show the terrible side of the game.
Do you think it's getting worse, though, in your estimation, your experience?
Well, for the last 6 years, our reports brought in stats have shown that, you know, discrimination is on the rise. And first of all, I was quite pleased about that because it meant that there was a confidence in reporting and that people were now using reporting procedures. Now, after 6 years, it's obviously got to be worrying. But like I said, I think it's the fact that we've had some high-profile incidents that now says to everyone, you know, we need to have taken, you know, the strongest possible action.
What about the footballers taking action themselves, taking, you know, really making a stand and just stopping a game?
Well, there is a three-step protocol that they could follow. That protocol let down those England players, you know, in Montenegro. I think we're very close, if situations do not change, to players taking matters into their own hands. And Danny speaking out is one of those situations because he's alerting the game and its rule makers of the pressures that he is under and the fact that he, you know, in a few years' time, he will just walk away from the game, and he's playing at the highest level of the game, you know, for club and country. So that has to send out a worrying signal that they must do better around the topic of racism.